Hello and welcome to my underground lair, 4th grade ukulele players. I am so very excited to be bringing you one of my all-time favorite songs, Here Comes the Sun, by my very favorite band, The Beatles. I think it's a really great song for us to be learning right now as we look forward to the future. The spring will be coming soon. We will be feeling very spring-like, and before you know it, things will be back to normal, and we'll be wishing for the time at home. So I hope you guys have been enjoying your time and are ready to rock with this song. I will be uploading some other links for you guys to help with this song, but I'll also be performing the song at the end of the video to so you can hear it in context. But first, let's start by learning the intro. Alright, so the intro is just a G, C, and a D, and most of the song is a G, C, and a D. There's some weird stuff happening in the bridge of the song, but even though it's a 4-page song, it's mostly just verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. It's very, very simple, but then of course there are outros, intros, connectors, and bridges. So those are all little things thrown throughout to mix up such a simple form. So before we do anything, let's make sure we know how to play our G. So remember the G, we take our first finger, 2nd fret of the C string, and our second finger, 2nd fret of the A string, and then we put our 3rd finger between. So there's our G. Okay, our C, super easy chord, we don't even need to talk about it. And then the D, you can play the D a number of ways. Sometimes, because I've got big chubby fingers, I've got to flatten and just bar across. But then you got to be careful not to get the end note. Or you can do 1st, 2nd, and 3rd fingers right across the 2nd fret of the G, C, and E string, and then play with the open A. Or you can use your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger, which is what I do, which is what I use because those fingers are a little smaller for me. The most important notes are those 3 strings. So even if you bar it and you don't want to pluck the A, do the best you can. Do the best you can. So here is the intro. Sorry, that last D wasn't great. But you might notice that the first 2 lines are almost identical. The D on the first line has this little thing. And then the second D is just the chord. And you might notice that for the little riff that's happening under the G chord, you can keep your G hand, the hand the same. And then just lift your 2nd finger to get that open A. Then put it back down for the 2, and then back down to the G string, or the G note. So listen carefully. So notice my G position kind of stays throughout the whole thing. I'm not doing one note at a time like this. That's confusing. So think about keeping your whole hand in that one position, and then do a little finger style. If this is really, really tough for you, could you play just straight strums like this? Sure, I mean that would work. We are going to play this as a class eventually, so whatever you can do to keep the time is going to be great. But as we're working through all of these little things, I think to try and play that melody is going to be really, really fun. So moving on to the chorus. The chorus, I mean, if you look through your paper, which I'm doing right now, you can see it happens once here on the first page. Okay, then it happens twice on the 2nd page. Not at all on the 3rd page, and once on the last page. So you've got a lot of choruses. So once you master it on the first try, or the first time around, then it's just going to keep kind of repeating. So all you got to do is master that chorus, and the song is like 50% done. So here it is. So we've got straight G chords, and in this song you might notice that all the chords I'm putting as just like kind of straight quarter notes. But when I play them, I'm going to give it a little flavor. So feel free to give it a little flavor too. So instead of just being straight like this, here comes the sun, you can do something a little bit more fun, like here comes the sun. You can kind of mix it up however you feel it matches the way that you're singing it. I'm also going to include a link for you guys to listen to the actual song by the Beatles. I don't want you to think that the way I sing it is the only way, because I assure you it's, you know, much better to listen to the real song. Okay, so here I will play the chorus for you. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. Alright, so a lot of things are happening there. I know it sounds really difficult, but trust me, it's not as hard as it seems. So the first part, here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. So again, just like the intro, you're staying in your G position. So let's do the doo-doo-doo-doo part. So we have 2, 3, off 2, and you're in the G position already, so these fingers are here. So look at this finger, bing, 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 and this finger, bing, 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 bing. See how I just lifted that one finger up? To get that open A, just like in the chorus. So this part's very much like the first measure of the song. So if you played the first measure of the song, you've got the chorus so far down. Then for the third measure of the chorus, we have here comes the, C, here comes the, then look at my first finger is going to go over to the A7, sun when I say, then the G, which we've already played a ton of, although it's hard, I know we play a lot of it, but it's a hard chord. It's alright. So you just played the first 5 measures of the chorus, no problem, and then we get to this really groovy yet difficult riff that we are going to see every time the chorus comes around. So start with your G chord. You might want to use your pinky, but since we haven't used the pinky a lot, you might want to stay away from that, and just kind of slide your finger up, similar to an E minor, which you guys are really good at. So it's like an E minor without the first finger. So it's alright, then an E minor without the first finger, and we're just going to play 4, 3, off. Then look, your first finger here to switch, 2, 3, off, then lift your first finger up, off, 3, off, then put your finger back down, 2, 3, off, and then your third finger's there already for this next riff, and then I'm just going to move my first finger over to create this sound. So on the E string we have 3, 2, off, and then 2 on the C string. So it should sound like this. Let's play that together very slow. Ready? 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and. And then it lands on a G, which your fingers should be there. If you're using your first finger for that. Okay, look, your first finger's there already. You just gotta add the G, and then you're there. And this next part, the G and the D, we call it the chorus verse connector, because we're going to use that every time the chorus happens to connect us back to the verse, where we have just 4 Gs and 4 Ds. And then we have the verse. Okay, so the verse is very straightforward. It's just going to be straight chords and strumming. There's no riff or anything funky here. So let's listen to the verse. And the verse is the same every time it comes around, except the lyrics are a little different, but not very different. It starts out with Little Darling, and then we have a little variation. So the verse is something I feel that you could probably master just in this one session. The intro and the chorus might take a little more, well, probably will take a little more time. It took me a little more time, and I practiced a little while, and I was able to get it, so can you. Alright, so here is the verse. We have G, little darling, it's been a C, long, cold, lonely D, winter. Then these chords repeat with just more words. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Pretty easy, I think. I think you can handle that. So let's do that together, very slow, just straight quarter notes. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. So every verse should sound very similar to that. And then of course we go back to the chorus after that, then verse 2, then back to the chorus, then the bridge. Okay, this is the harder part of the song. So you're feeling pretty good. I'm sure you've been practicing and you're like, oh, this is no problem. And then you get to the bridge and you're like, what's happening? Why are Paul and George and Ringo and John so cruel? But it's not impossible. We've done B flat and B before. We've done F before. We've done C before. Obviously, we've played already in the song. So let's just work through the chords of the bridge. So it's at the top of page 3. We have that chorus verse connector, and then we have the bridge. So the B flat, let's just review real quick. We had barred our first finger across 2 strings on the first fret, then your second finger on the D note, that's on the C string, and then your third finger crosses them all to get to that G string 3rd fret. It should sound like this. Okay, it sounds pretty wacky in this song because we're in the key of G and there is no B flat chord in the key of G, so this is like a non-key chord, which is pretty cool. That's why it sounds so fun when you hear it. And same thing with F. F is not a key chord. That sounds funny. It's not a chord you usually hear in the key of G major. So that's why this has such a really different feel. And that's what the bridge is. When you have verse, chorus, oftentimes a composer will throw a bridge at you to sort of change the mood, mix it up. This way, when you get back to the verse or the chorus after this bridge, it's going to sound new, even though you've played it 3 times already. So it's kind of just like a really awesome, brilliant, yet common songwriting tool. So here is the bridge. So we've got B flat, F, C. Okay, you might want to pause it and then take a few rounds of just playing those 3 chords over and over again, because what we're going to do here, you might notice the time signature change and also these 8th notes. We are arpeggiating these chords. So arpeggiate is just a fancy way of saying arpeggio, which is a fancy way of saying a broken chord, meaning you're going to play the chord just 1 note at a time. So instead of playing B flat like this, you're going to play 1 note at a time like this. And here you might notice you don't actually need to bar across because we're only doing 3 notes. So here are these 3 chords with arpeggios. All right, let's try that again. Fun, yeah. So, and we're going to try and do it nice and slow. Ready? 1 and 2 and 3 and bridge and. Try again. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it kind of fights that quarter note downbeat because they feel kind of like triplets, because of the way that they're grouped. And 5/4, don't get worried, it's not a difficult time signature, it just means that instead of 4 beats per measure, where we usually have our 4 beats per measure time signature, this is just 5 beats, so it kind of just squeezes an extra beat in there. And then the next line we just have a G, 2, 3, 4, and D, D. Then we have this little lick, this 2, 3, off, F sharp, G, A. So for this, I bar across because it's so much changing around. My chubby fingers can't get onto that frets really quickly, so I just do a quick bar for that D. So here's the second line of page 3. So we have. Okay. And now the bridge starts with an arpeggio. Then we have lyrics, and we don't have to arpeggio anymore. We're going to play those straight chords. And here you might notice the time signature, 11/8. Holy cow. Okay? Very similar to 5/4, but with an extra 8th note at the end. And that, again, creates all this really disconnected kind of, it doesn't sound conflicted, but it kind of throws you off a little bit because it's the bridge, so it's mixing things up. Because then when we get back to the verse after the bridge, it's going to feel really secure, and it's going to be real steady going from there. And that's, the songwriters, Lennon and McCartney, they meant to do this. They meant to make the chord. Oh, actually, Lennon and McCartney didn't write the song. What am I saying? This is George Harrison. Okay, he was the lead guitarist. He wrote some of the really great songs, other than this, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, so George Harrison wanted the bridge to this song to feel very different. So let's do the bridge. Okay, so here we go. I'll play it for you. So we have 1, 2, ready, and. Sun, 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 here it comes. Then we do that 4 times. Sun, 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 here it comes. Sun, 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 here it comes. And watch how we can count this. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 comes. So there's dotted quarter notes. Sun, 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 here it comes. One more, do it with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2 comes. And then it happens a fifth time, but we don't have that as part of the repeat because we're going to have here this interlude happens next. So now I'm going to play the last 11/8 measure into the interlude. So we have, ready, and sun, 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 here it comes. Then the interlude is a D. Then we extend one of our fingers to make that D sus4. Then we bring it back down for the D, and then we remove one of our fingers for the D7, and then here we go, verse 3. Little darling, I feel that ice is slowly melting. Last line. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Let's do the chorus. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. And then it continues verse, chorus, and so on and so forth. I'm kind of looking at the wrong page here, actually. Oh, here we go, the final chorus. So the it's alright line does get repeated twice. That's not a typo when you look at the fourth page. And then the outro is just like the chorus and the bridge kind of mixed up. So let's listen to the outro. So we have G, 2, this is the last line of the song. So we have G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4. So you can kind of slow that down towards the end. Here it is again. So outro, 1, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, B flat, F, C. And that comes right out of the chorus, that end connector. So that's it. So I'm going to play the whole song for you guys now. And then I want you to go and practice it on your own and print out your pages and start practicing. And I'm going to see you guys on Zoom to play through this. And you can re-watch this video obviously as many times as you want to nail it. And when we all get together in person, I hope that this song will really have taken shape and we'll rock it out. All right, guys, take care. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. Little darling, it's been a long, cold, lonely winter. Little darling, it feels like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. Little darling, the smiles returning to their faces. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been here. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. Sun, 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 here it comes. 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 is slowly melting. Little darling, it seems like years since it's been clear. Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun when I say it's alright. It's alright.